Welcome to Welfare Clinic. Women in our community, in our society, do they face barriers? Do their husband prevent them from going into public life, getting into employment? Do they have problem with the in-laws? Do they have barriers within the community? We have a lot of community organization, the kind of supports offered to the women in our community. We are going to talk about women in public life and empowerment. I have three fantastic guests with me today, and we will throw the questions at them, and they will discuss how we can empower women in our community and how women can get into public life, and people who are already in public life, kind of barriers and difficulties they faced. I'm going to introduce my guest. From my far left is Sultana Begum, who's there, works in a community service. Sultana, welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you.
Then is Nozma Khan. Nozma, you work in public service. Welcome
Yes,
to the show.
Thank you.
And then I got Bilkiss Nahar, who is a health and beauty therapist. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
If I can start off with Sultana. Sultana, you do a lot of community work. You work with a lot of women. What kind of difficulties and barriers do you think that they face when they go about getting employment or trying to get active in the community?
Obviously, there's different within the Bangladeshi. You were talking about the Bangladeshi community, right?
Bangladeshi is South Asian in general.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So there's different kind of barriers that I guess women face. Some of it could be childcare. Some of it could be language barriers. Some of it could be education. Some of it could be personal barriers or family barriers that they face within their own home. So there's so many different angles you can look at it from.
Have you ever come across where women want to progress, whether in education level or in employment level, but they've been prevented by their family members, by their husband, because they feel that women should stay home and just look after the children?
Yeah, of course, in the community. I mean, I've been involved in the community 15 years, and you'll always find those kind of circumstances where women want to go out to get their education, they want to work, but sometimes families that they're from, they feel that no, the woman's place is in the home, and so it's been a struggle, but so many women have overcome that. There's a lot of women who've gone through these type of struggles, but they've managed to still break some of those barriers and gone on. I actually worked on a project, I remember, years ago with Harker. It was looking at getting women to get involved in community as well as in health programs, and we were targeted a lot of women who went and knocked on the door. So some of them were like housewives, some of them didn't want to come along, but they eventually did. Some of them went on to even to do the community foundation degree at London Met. So there's a lot of women that are breaking those barriers, and they're doing it every day.
But it's a big challenge, isn't it, Nozma? It's a big challenge in terms of for the women who wants to progress, who's got talent, who can give so much to the community, but they've been prevented from giving their knowledge and experience to the community.
Yeah, I think the issue here is not so much the community, it's the society as a whole and how they perceive the woman's role. And for some reason, even in today's day and age, the woman feels that she has to fulfill that role. And by doing so, she's not only inhibiting herself from developing skills and having to share what she enjoys with the rest of the community and to do something for herself. These sort of issues, I think it's all around, especially like you said, South Asian and Bangladeshi communities. And that's something is very difficult to actually bring women out of. When they settle down as a homemaker, as a housewife, their priorities are totally different.
You are a working mom.
I'm a working mom.
You're a working mom. You work in public service.
Yeah.
We have loads of organization in the community. Most of the organization is men dominated. What's your view on that?
Well, I think, yes, it is male-dominated, but there are a lot of women that are offering and giving the community a lot of support as well. I mean, when you see, my personal point of view, when you see a male figure who is dominating a superior role, you would obviously say, okay, he's the breadwinner, he's supporting his family, he's got obviously a stable family at home. In order for him to be where he is and to earn what he is earning, he's got a backing of a woman. you know, the women essentially, I think, are the power tools. If they were not managing and running the home, the children, the welfare of the family, then it would be very difficult.
Hold on to that thought, because
male.
you said men are breadwinners. But Bilkiss, in your case, man is not a breadwinner. You're the breadwinner. You have to provide for your children. You're also working mum. You have to do the work. You have to look after your children, and you have to put the food on the table.
Yes, I do, because I'm a single mom, and I have 3 children, and I've been raising them by myself. So, yes, I work. I look after my kids and my family. Do what men should do, like, you know. So, so in my case, I don't have that. So I have to be, for my children, I have to be the mum and dad for them. So I have to do my.
And there must be many single parents out there,
of course, yeah,
who's having to go through this day in, day out.
Day in, day out challenges. Yeah, it's every day is a challenge. Every day you wake up and you have to do this, because I have to plan my day to do what I need to do. So I have to work, I have to clean, I have to cook, I have to wash my kids' clothes, everything. So
and I guess you don't have much choice either, do you?
No, I don't have a choice.
You can't rely on someone else to do it for you.
I don't have a choice to rely on anyone. So I have to do everything. So, yeah.
And what kind of difficulties do you face? What kind of challenge do you face as a single parent?
I mean, it's a lot of challenges, because sometimes you think, like, you know, if someone is there just to help you, but it's not there. But so obviously, every day you get up and you do the same thing every day and out, and week after week, month after month, it's the same thing. So it is challenging, but then again, you pick yourself up and do you know what, I'm going to do it.
And what would be your advice to other single parents out there who wants to progress in life, who wants to whether to set up their own business or to become self-employed or to get education? What would be your advice to them?
I think they have to have confidence, self-esteem. They need to know what they can do and what they can't. So use your negative as your positive. So don't think negative. Don't think, oh, I can't do this. Of course you can. Like anybody can. So it's going to be hard. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but if you're educated, and if you're not, if you're not educated, go and do some course. Do something what you like. It could be anything. And support yourself and support your family. And I think it's the confidence you have to have, the self-esteem. If you lose your self-esteem, it's very hard, because you have to work on your inner self. You need to say, I'm actually good. I'm not bad as it seems. I can do this. So if you can say, I can do this and I can do this, yes, you can. I think it's nothing, it's difficult.
That is another issue in itself when women are lone parents and they are single. It is emotionally, I think it is very, very draining to be playing the
mom and
both of the parents' roles is very difficult. You're in that position where, you know, maybe you would say, oh, if my partner was here, I could have a break today, and he could do the errands, or he could do the running around, or he could.
But some women will probably say, you know, having a partner makes no difference.
So, well, maybe
in some cases,
for them, in some cases it doesn't make any difference. But in this particular situation, when we're looking at the woman and her role and empowering her, her self-esteem will drop if she hasn't got that support, or if there isn't, for example, having friends and people in the community, your parents, relatives, whoever, having people like that around you who give you positive vibes, who actually get you to
but do you not
get
think,
your
obviously,
positiveness
I
out.
think sometimes what happens when you, as a single mother, like you said, like family or friends, I mean, you know, some side point they do support you, but sometimes they don't. It's just like either way, oh, do this, do that, do this, do that, you know, so sometimes it is quite confusing. So it's about the person. If I can do it, I can do it. Do you understand? Yet it's not going to be easy as a single mother, because obviously, like you said, it's emotional, because as a woman we get really emotional, and that is hard. But if you can come out of it, you can.
But how important is the support of your husband or your partner or your family members, how important is that particular support for a woman in a house that who wants to progress in life?
I think for me it's very, very important. At the moment I'm studying as well as being the parent and the working mum as well.
Why are you studying, just out of interest?
Because it's something I want to do
Okay.
for myself. I've been the daughter-in-law, I've been the wife, I've been the mother, and it's come to the point where I need to do something for myself. And I enjoy research, I enjoy studying. I've gone back and I thought, okay, sat down with my husband, spoke to him, and I said, I'd like to go back to studying, if that's okay.
So he's
with you.
quite supportive.
He is very, very supportive. Alhamdulillah, he's very, very supportive. He's encouraging me to go all the way. He's saying to me, you know, I couldn't study, so if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it.
But what would you say to, obviously you're probably one of the fortunate one that who got support of their partner or husband, and he can do things that you want to do. But there will be many women out there.
Yes, of course.
Unfortunately, they wouldn't have same level of support. In fact, their other half may be obstacle to them rather than being supportive. What do you think that they should do if they find themselves in those sort of situations?
I think
because it can be quite a difficult one, isn't it?
It is. I think it's what Sultana was saying earlier, that they've got all these community programs, and they've also got interventions in schools now to get parents involved so that they can go along and better their skills and as well as their knowledge. I think that's very important to have. If you've got the knowledge, then there is a chance there may be a change, there may be an improvement and better lifestyles.
I was just going to say, like, obviously, it depends on the circumstance of the women, of where the women are. I mean, I worked 4 years engaging parents within an education setting. And what we were trying to do was to get parents to engage in the children's learning as well as in their own learning. The idea is that if they can engage with their own learning, they can engage with their children's learning. And you sometimes battle so many different things. Like what you were saying, that sometimes the woman could be trapped within a home setting and that she's actually being controlled and not being allowed out. Then it becomes a different issue. Then you're talking about this is something else, you know, is there, you know, DV, is there other stuff going on in that house? And that's a different situation. But going back to what Bilkiss was saying about confidence and self-esteem, so many women in the years I've been working in the community, women really don't champion themselves enough. And self-esteem is such a big thing that they need someone to believe in them, and they need to believe in themselves, right?
Yep, that is true. You have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself,
then you can't do anything.
I mean, that's the main point. You have to believe in yourself and you have to love yourself.
Yeah.
And those two, if you have those two, anything can be possible. You know, because like someone like me or people like me, they are doing it.
But do you not think, Bilkiss, like for example, for yourself, you make all the decisions as to what you want to do. But if there was someone else that who had a say in your life as to what the type of decision you take, do you not think then that becomes slightly more, can be a barrier or difficult? I'm not saying in all cases, but in some cases it can be barrier and difficult.
Yes, it can be.
Because that individual might turn around and say, no, I don't want you to go out, I don't want you to do this. I wanted to stay home and just look after the children, or you know, stay home and do whatever you need to do.
I mean, yes. I mean that.
Go on, finish then.
I mean, it's not that I wasn't never been married. I was married before, okay, and with my ex-husband, whatever I used to do, I used to discuss. If it's a good thing or bad thing. If he doesn't like it, if I don't like it, we always used to discuss. It's a discussion. It's not like saying, no, you have to do this or I have to do that. Nothing like that. It's a discussion. And then if the discussion it was successful, then yes, whatever,
I
either
guess
way.
if it wasn't successful.
It is either way. But 99.9% it was successful because it's your understanding and your communication, how you communicate with the person and how that person understands you. So I mean, yes, some certain point it was a barrier, but you just have to overcome with it. You have to understand, because that's the main thing.
Nozma,
I was just going to mention, when you say barriers, I look at it as, for example, sometimes maybe me and my husband won't see eye to eye on a certain topic or a subject. he would think that he knows better than me, and I would think that, no, well, I've got evidence, you know. Like I said, I'll pull out my references. So in situations like that, there can be disagreements, and at the end of the day, you have to come to a
But
mutual
disagreement
agreement.
is healthy.
Yes.
Having a disagreement is
yes,
healthy,
but you've got that additional sort of ear, you know, you've got that additional input to help you get through or make that decision or make the right choice. Whereas sometimes when you're on your own, it's very difficult, and all of it is down to you.
Can I just add one point? Going back to what Bilkiss was saying about I'm sorry, I feel like I'm just
it's cool, it's fine.
But it's like, you know, when you talk about, I work in family mediation at the moment, right? So we do a lot of mediation and mentoring. And a lot of the time, I go into families, we get referrals from social services and various other places. Vast majority of the time, it's about communication and the fact that there is no like communication going on, there is no understanding, there's no trust, there's no sense of like, they're not on the same side. So a lot of the times you're going in and you're talking to the family, you're talking to the husband, then you're talking to the wife, and all it is like you're a translator. And when they start communicating, you see that things actually start improving.
Let me ask
As
you,
an example,
let me ask you
that's
three
a good
ladies
point.
$1 million question.
Go on then.
Why is it some of the husbands, because from our research we find quite a lot of husbands would prevent their wife from doing activities outside home, whether it's be employment, community work, or something that interests them. What is it? Is the insecurity? What is it? What is it that prevents those husbands from helping their wife wanting to do things outside home life?
I mean, one thing also, I'm coming from a very counselling perspective because that's my work, right? There is no one answer. There's so many different things, and I'm sure they're gonna
give us a few.
Okay, you
or
said
couple.
insecurity. One could be insecurity, right? It could be the case that a man hasn't achieved certain things in his life, and he probably feels insecure. The other things could be that he just feels threatened by his wife going out. Is she going to leave him? She's going to become better. There's so many different reasons.
But the husband lives home every day, goes out, does whatever he needs to do. The women I don't believe that necessarily, there might be some, I don't know, but vast majority of women wouldn't necessarily feel insecure because they expect their husband to come back home.
But then
I think it's really to do with the trust. Trust is very important in a relationship.
Do you think the culture comes into play?
The culture does definitely come into play. Obviously, we have our cultural values that we carry forward, and we hope to pass on to our children in the future generation as well. However, I think in today's society and living in UK, men have they know the balance basically between good and bad, and from their experience they do incorporate their experience as well as what they hear from other people, and sometimes there is that element of insecurity and possibly the issue of trust as well. I mean, it depends. For example, if a guy met a girl and he married her, he knew her right from day one, he'd probably know what her boundaries are, and he'd know, this is how this person is from the beginning, I know her. When, for example, you have an arranged marriage and you kind of living life with someone for many, many years, it comes to a point when you might decide suddenly, well, I'm fed up of being the mom, I want to do something. I can see people moving on, doing things in the community. There's these talks, lecture groups and Islamic groups and all sorts of community events going on, and a lot of women take part in these events. Some of them, the husbands don't even know they take part. It shouldn't have to be like that. The husband should know he should be included as well as part of the community, not just feel that he's going out and then have that. See,
what our research shows is that there's a lot of women, almost 80% of the women actually feel that if they go and interact, if they talk to another person, other than women, if they talk to any other male person, then they will get themselves into problem. It could be work related, it could be professional level, it could be anything, but they feel that fear inside them that they're not allowed to talk to anybody except their husband or immediate family members.
I think some women, like if you look at a religious perspective way, yes, you shouldn't speak to other men than your husband or brothers or dad and all that. In that sense, if you look at it. But then again, you're living in a country, it's like a multicultural. You work, you study, you go. So you will meet other people, like, you know, your colleagues. You will have to interact with them. You know, it's how you talk to them. How it's
well, I
all
guess
about you.
You must
it's
know your boundaries.
It's your boundary. If you know your boundaries, if you go out of your boundary, then it's yes, you're guilty with something. Like, you know, oh, my husband doesn't need to know because I'm talking to this person, or 2 o'clock in the morning I'm calling him, or whatever. Do you understand? But in that way, yes, it is wrong because you're guilty about something.
But we have Bangladesh, where all of us actually come from. We have 2 leaders, both of them are women.
Oh, yes.
One of them is a prime minister, the other one is the opposition leader.
But then
regardless of what people may have their own view about the political situation, but they are 2 female
powerful women
running the country.
Yes, they are, but the only reason they're powerful is because of their husband and the father, right? Sheikh Mujib is the father of Hasina, and
if you look at it that way, it's not the husband and the father, it's the people the population, the male population that are backing both these women and have placed them in
love the men, so why can't the same rule not apply at your home? Because a lot of those people who support those 2 honourable ladies lives in this country, so why can't they not apply the same policy?
When you're supporting someone outside, it's fine, it's not your wife. You're all about empowerment. Oh, I want women to go out and do all these things.
Yeah.
But the moment it affects your own household, or my wife, my own family, I think people sometimes can be a little bit like conflicted in that.
Yes.
Yeah, but do you not think by empowering your wife, your sister, your daughter, you actually making a society a better? If they go and do something, if they go and do something positive, they might be able to change 4 different other women in a positive way, in positive path.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's true. I mean, like, if most fathers, they do love their children, right? And they love the daughters, they want them to do well. And I'm sure, like, a lot of people want that. But I think when it happens, I think people are scared. You know, the change of our culture. Like, if you were asking earlier on, you said, is it the culture that sometimes holds us back? And I've spoken to women who are daughter-in-laws, as an example, that sometimes in the same household, the daughter is allowed to do certain things, but the daughter-in-law isn't. I'm using that as an example. So where there are so many different types of barriers.
So obviously the daughter-in-law will react because there's one rule for your own daughter, another rule for someone else's daughter.
Yeah, I mean, there's a young lady that I know who's obviously married, has children as well. She actually gave her job up for the sake of her religion, saying that she shouldn't be working in a community with other men. You know, she doesn't believe that this is the right path.
If you choose to do something,
yeah,
then that is your right.
Yes,
and you should your choice, and you should be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
However, I think what we're talking about is that people are being prevented. So if you want to wear a scarf, you wear a scarf. Your decision. How you dress is your decision. Nobody else. No one can. I don't feel that I should be allowed to dictate how my wife dress or whoever dress. But do you understand? Obviously, there is a limitation, and there is obviously a moderate way of dressing. Of course, that goes without saying. However, is that what we're talking about is how we're restricting our daughters or our wives from achieving the potential that they have and empowering them. So we have seen where fathers supported their daughters, that daughters actually have done
well,
really well and came out very positively into the community and doing fantastic things. But how many, let's be realistic about it. How many fathers actually goes with their daughters to events and things like that?
Okay, I can actually comment on that. As I was growing up, I mean, my father was very supportive with me as I was growing up. He wanted me to study and fulfill what I wanted to do. Obviously, due to a change of events in my life, I kind of was pushed away from that side. But when I was about 15, from the age of 15 till the age of about 26, I was a part-time youth worker.
So you worked with a lot of young people?
I worked with a lot of young people, lot of confused young people, some coming from broken homes and lone parents. It was very difficult getting the trust of parents. Me being a Bangladeshi young woman, taking these children away from their parents, they didn't know what I was going to teach their children. This is youth work, this isn't school, this is out of school activity. You know, what they didn't understand or couldn't understand and comprehend was the fact that I am empowering your children by taking them away, by getting them to do all these sort of activities. They're developing their own skills, they're developing their confidence, their self-esteem. You know, this is what they could not understand. And the whole issue was the fact that it was because I was a Bangladeshi woman. For some reason, they felt that they could trust someone from a Caucasian community rather than myself, because they thought, yes, that person would be more educated, they would know.
And is it because of the color of the skin?
Yes, it was because of the color of the skin. And this was people from our Bangladeshi community that felt that way.
And do you think as of today, the people still feel that there's an element of that is still there?
Today, I think those people in that community that initially were afraid to let their children out, I think they're willing to give their grandchildren away to me now. It is like that.
So if anybody want to give their grandchildren, they contact you?
Yes, they will want to give their grandchildren away, because that's where they are now. And from where I was back then, this is like going back over 20 years.
It's because they trust you.
Yes, it's about trust. It's building that trust. But they can't, it's very difficult. They won't just trust anyone. And I think there's people in our community still
have that fear.
Yeah, have that fear.
Do you know one thing I was going to say to you, like, is that, you know, when you're talking about like empowerment of women and stuff, I think today's women have to be so skilled in terms of how they manage. It's almost like as women, you play so many different roles, right? You play, you know, from wife to a sister. You have to almost keep everybody happy, and there's so much expectation on the woman to do things, making sure that everyone's happy within the family. And I think I feel that gone back in the days where women could just stay at home, look after the kids. Now she's not only doing all that, she's also having to go to work, also studying. And there's so much pressure on her learning how to organize her home, organize her time, and how she engages with the rest of the extended family, and at the same time trying to meet her own rights and her own needs. And I think also you're talking about the Bangladeshi community. I think sometimes the men in our community don't understand when a woman comes out and does all these things. I don't think they understand what women are giving up as well. And I just feel that maybe there isn't enough
support.
What
can be done, just quickly, what can be done to make them understand? What can be done to make men understand that it's important? I mean, they have wives and children, surely, right? And I think society as a whole can function healthily only when everyone works collectively together. It makes no sense that if you're going to oppress women, it just doesn't work that way. Society has to function together, right? You're going to have children, you're going to have daughters, you're going to have, it's just the case. I don't know what we need to do. Maybe we need to communicate more with them. Maybe there needs to be more seminars. Maybe these kind of like workshops you're talking about, we need to have with men, right? And ask them those questions. Well, it's an option that we'll have to explore.
I mean, where you mentioned work, today, going back 20 years ago, as I was saying, there wasn't enough women in work. Today,
I think it's more.
There's a lot more
20
women.
years back to now, there's more than 14.3
in civic society, women in all levels are still underrepresented. But
there's
at
least
progress.
14.3 million women at work now compared to 20 years ago. And they still have challenges to face every day. Whether it may be jobs, they have competition against men being paid higher posts.
Which is a fact, you can say.
Yes.
Yeah, it is
and
fact.
they still have to face these challenges of being a mom. You know, it's not only that, it's the political side as well. What people are being imposed with now, and the society is just kind of like tumbling around in a vicious cycle, trying to, meet the needs of the public, the home, the children. It's just really, really vicious.
Bilkiss, let me ask you,
Really
you're self-employed, you set up your own business, you're working as well, you're looking after your children, as you said, as a single parent. what did you have to do to go about to set up something? Because it couldn't have been easy initially,
No.
setting up any kind of business or being a self-employed. And what kind of support did you get when you were trying to came up with the initiative?
I mean, my youngest child, he was about 1.5 years, and that's the time I got separated from my husband. So obviously, when you're separated, obviously you've got more responsibility, like paying your bills and mortgage and food, just general stuff, basic stuff.
Basics, yeah.
So I was looking for work. Then I thought about it, how can I do it if I've got a 1.5-year-old baby, you know? So I actually thought, let me go back to study, you know, because I'm going to use my time wisely. So I don't have to go to work at the moment, let me just do that. So I went back to study. So when then I didn't even know what to study because I was finding it hard. So I spoke to my best friend, her name is Rahana Anisha. She's a hairdresser herself and she's in the same situation as me. Okay, so we talked about it, discussed, and then she said, why don't you do something like what you can, you know, are you good at? So I went back to college, looked at a few options, and I thought, okay, that might be something for me. Don't even know how to do beauty side at all. So something I don't even know how to put makeup, nothing. So I applied for my course, I got in, and I did my course. So when I was doing my course first year, I knew the day one what I'm going to do. Okay. Because I knew I want to be self-employed. The reason is I want to do that because I have a young child. My older two, they're old enough, but it's my youngest one.
So you can arrange your own...
So I can't afford to get a childminder, this, that. So I said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. So since when I started the course, I start saving money. You know, like you save pennies? So I was saving pennies. That's what I was doing. So I did that a year, finished my course. Following week, went to the wholesalers, bought what I need to buy. I started from home. Even, wow. Like, you know, obviously even going to work, I did look for jobs for salon and stuff. Because you're level 2, it's nothing there. So I need to put my practice, I have to put my practice, otherwise I'm going to forget. So I started from home with friends and family. Like, you know, practice, and this is what I'm doing from 4.5 years. Then that did my level 3, because without the level 3, it's no point. Did my level 3, same thing, and then I did another year, did makeup and hair a little bit as well, just to, you know, branch a little bit. And since then, I'm just doing as a self-employed. I work in a salon as well for 3 days, and I work for myself. So balancing both jobs, balancing my kids.
So you're doing quite a lot.
I'm doing quite a lot, you know. So you just have to grab any opportunity come. You just
well, it certainly inspired me. I hope it inspires a lot of women out there,
you know,
that you actually started from scratch. And obviously, look, when somebody come out of a relationship, it's not easy thing.
No, it's not
because
easy. It's
that drains you completely, because you was in a relationship, you come out, and then you have to put everything in perspective, just like with the basic
I mean,
things.
I'm not going to say it's easy, because it was right, because like emotionally, physically, mentally, it was draining me out. In the same time, you're studying as well. You're going back study after 17 years. It's not easy.
No,
like, you know,
imagine.
So it's not like I woke up in the morning and I said, oh, I'm going to become a beauty therapist. No, it doesn't work like that. I had to study 2 years.
So you were motivated by your friend?
Yes, it was. It was. She was like inspiring me, supporting me all the way. Saying every day, I said, you know what, I can't do this, it's too much, man, it's too much, I can't do this, I can't do that. No, you have to. Yes, and I did. And came out with good result as well. And yeah, that's what's up. Because study, if you want to do something, you have to study. It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, do you know what? Maybe we should get your friend on the show one day, so she can motivate few other
women definitely
on our show, because I think it's a quite a very inspiring story, that your journey, that where you have started and where you are today. You know, you've been a quite big, long and difficult journey in your life, but you know, you made it into success.
Yes, I think anything can be possible. Obviously, in the beginning, it will be struggle. You will have a lot of negative. People will say, don't do this, don't do that. Like, turn them in the positive. And I say to myself, do you know what? Don't think negative, just do positive. Make your negative as a positive.
And do you guys think, and you all three can contribute on this, but do you guys think that often women in our community is discouraged by more negative thoughts about women rather than the positive element of it?
Yes. I think they
They do, definitely do. They look at other women around them. They look at trends. They look at what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, who's wearing what, who's walking in what shoes, who's
who's having how much
looking
gold
good,
in
whose
their
husband's
cupboard.
got money, who's not got gold.
Whose saree is more expensive than mine.
They do look at trends like that, and
That's
the
what it
stuff
is.
that influences them. But there is a better life outside those influences, and that is, you know, get your education, get the knowledge, and go and get your dream. Get your dream for yourself.
I was going to say, I'm just like using Bilkiss' experience where she's saying that her friend motivated her, sometimes role models, you know, seeing other women in your own, because sometimes if you're in a circle...
But if you have a bad role model...
Exactly, we're just
then
saying that
you're pretty much...
Yeah, no, but if
you're
doomed. No, not necessarily. If you're in a circle of people that all they want to do is stay at home, you know, sorry, nothing wrong with staying at home. There's plenty of women out there staying at home, raising their children, alhamdulillah, that's fantastic. I'm saying that if you're in a circle... if you're in a circle
Drama.
of women, okay, all they would do is just watch Star Plus.
Well,
then
look,
you should go and find
what they do
friends.
is their business. We don't want to go
Exactly,
down
that's
that
what
road.
they do.
But life is drama though.
Yeah, but it's, at the end of the day, if you yourself actually want to do this, then you can go out, go find yourself a little, you know, I'm sure there's so many different other types of circles that you can also join and feel motivated. Just as you were motivated by your friend, there's other women out there. You know, I remember like, a lot of the women I've worked with where they've come out, you know, they've done courses, they've done so many different types of things. It's, the opportunities are there. It's about you coming out and finding
let me ask you this, Sultana. So if a woman want to do something, whether to set up their business or to go to education, to go into employment, into training, and they being prevented by their husband or or in-laws or the parents, whoever it may be, saying no, you cannot do X, Y, and Z. What do you think those individuals should do?
I mean, so many women end up in so many different circumstances. I've seen women...
Because that could also lead to domestic violence.
I know, that's what I'm saying. There must be other underlying stuff. But at the same time, I think, you know what it is? Going back to some of the things you guys were saying, you know, trust, communication. You have to open up communication with your family, right? And I think there's so many women who sometimes, maybe it's the case, I'm not trying to promote this, I'm saying sometimes it's the case that sometimes you have to wait and be patient and try and find a time, look for the opportunity or create the opportunity. You know,
if you can't speak to a member of your family, you think it may put you in difficulty, then try and speak to someone who you trust, maybe possibly a member of your immediate family or someone who's totally third party, someone who's not part of your family whatsoever, where you can get that support from and that encouragement from.
But do you not think once, especially in our community, once you're married, it becomes... You're not doomed necessarily. Well, she's not doomed.
You don't become entirely the in-laws' property.
No, they say...
But do you not think some people look at it that way?
Some people look at it that way, and that is the negative thought that we need
because
to
what actually happens,
clear out,
especially in our society, and I think what they do, they're religious, they put religion and they put society, like our community, what our community wants, and culture sort of, and they pick and choose whenever it suits them. So when it doesn't suit them, though, they say, "Oh, religion says that." And then when
but doesn't the religion apply onto the both parties, husband and wife?
Yes, it does, because religion says it's a balance.
And
but they ignore
this
that.
is not a religious show, and I'm not expert. But if you went to the religious actually puts women much higher than men.
Of course, it does,
of course.
In the scale. So, and it says that if you have daughters and if you look after your daughter, then they become a curtain between the fire and yourself, so you don't go into hellfire. So there's a big thing about when it comes to daughters and women especially. However, but when your husband or your partner become obstacles, and you go and talk to your parents says, "Oh, go and work with your husband or go and work with your in-laws," but they know they have potentials and they can deliver things, they can do things,
then
and
you have to ice break. You need to talk to them. The woman have to talk to them. She cannot be fear all the time. No, I can't, it's going to happen this. Because when you have that fear, you can't go forward, because you can't have both things. You have to let go one thing then another. You need to talk to your husband or in-law. You need to talk to them. Make them understand. Because if you don't make them understand, no one can.
And how do you make them understand?
But do you know what?
Sit down
So,
and
so
talk
somebody
to
who
them.
doesn't want to understand, how do you make them
I
understand?
think it's very difficult.
It's a
We
difficult-
do have people,
It's a
elderly
difficult-
members of our community. There's people that won't understand, they don't understand. It's too technical sometimes for some of them, and sometimes they're too old to understand. It's
sometimes
very
they're never
difficult.
gonna understand.
They will never
Yes,
understand.
there are- you
So
have to
there's all
s-
sorts of circumstances you could be in, but at the end of the day, it's down to you yourself
Yeah.
to not only protect yourself, but to also move away from situations like this, where you would find yourself in a situation where you're vulnerable and you are in a position of, say, being losing your dignity. You need to actually speak up for yourself.
Yeah,
You should
that's-
not sit back and let people walk all over you.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
stand
and
up.
you know what? There are plenty of women
Stand
I've come
up for
across
yourself.
who were in those circumstances, and
Yeah.
then I see them now, and years later, I don't know whether it's the case they just waited, but they're now going out there. Some of them are working in like as carers, so many different types of field. But maybe it's a culture that needs to change. That when a few people start doing it, you know how you find that other people start doing it, and sometimes maybe it's the attitude within our community that needs to change. Maybe there needs to be, you know, in the mosque, maybe there needs to be more discussion. Men need to become a lot more open-minded.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
this
mean,
is
we hear of stories about our Prophet and
Yeah.
his wife and so forth. In the mosque, in the communities, that's where the stories are coming out from. But at the end of the day, outside this particular story of our Prophet, every man that goes into the mosque has a wife, a daughter, a sister, a daughter-in-law at home, you know, an auntie, someone somewhere who is actually going through difficulties. And they need to consider, how about going home one day and asking your sister-in-law or your daughter or your wife, how are you today? You know, do you have any difficulties? You know, just asking someone that question.
I guess that
makes
question
a
is
lot
not
of
asked very
difference.
often, is it?
That is something a lot of people don't do.
But then if they don't do that, how is your family in a happy situation?
We are,
right?
we are almost end of the show. Time does go fast, and I know we're not going to be able to do justice to this topic just in 1 hour, but no doubt we'll come back and talk about this more in the new year. But just before we finish, one piece of advice that you would give to our viewers, especially to women, whether they be living with a husband, partner, or single parents. But I should also say our show is also watched by loads of non-Bangladeshi South and non-South Asian communities as well. So bearing that in mind, what would be your final word of advice
Okay,
to our audience?
I'll just say, you know what, don't give up. Keep trying and just be patient. Keep trying. You know that whole thing about sabr. And I know it means trying, continuing, persevering, but at the same time,
Persistence.
be persistent, but just also be patient. Things can change, and don't lose hope.
Nozma?
I would just say women themselves, they are the power tool in their homes. They are the foundation. They know and they run the show, and it's down to them to you know, step out of their role and go and achieve what they want to achieve.
Bilkiss?
Think positive and be positive. Simple.
Sultana, Nozma, Bilkiss, thank you very much for coming to the show and
you,
sharing
Ali.
your knowledge and experience.
Thank you.
That's it. I'm afraid the time has run out once again, but no doubt we will discuss about this. I hope you have been inspired by our guest today, especially the Bilkiss's story, how she has struggled and where she are today, just because she was supported by a very good friend. We all need somebody, whether you're man or woman. We need someone to support us, to work with us, to encourage us, to motivate us, to empower us. So we need all of that. And if you are a woman, if you got potential, you should come out and deliver those potentials to the community. Help your children, help your daughters. And if you are a man, husband, father, brother, then you should support and empower your sisters, your daughters, your wife, your mother, All of those people are very important into you and your family. This is the end of the last show of the year. We'll be back in the new year. If you are celebrating Christmas, do have a good one, but stay safe. And on behalf of Welfare Clinic and LB24, Happy New Year to all of you. Until next time, do take care.